Friends, welcome to this third talk on Father Kappen's philosophy. Today, the topic is Art and Social Consciousness. This is the title of a chapter in the book Tradition, Modernity, Counterculture. In this talk, I will be referring to another article also, that is, Towards the Revolution of Symbols. See, one thing very interesting is, the first one basically is, on the ground of Heideggerian notion of art. And the other one, Towards the Revolution of Symbols, it is influenced by Lacan, Jacques Lacan. What I am going to do is not just present the ideas contained in these two essays. See, I want to present my experience of reading these two, and throwing more light on Kappen's ideas using Lacanian and Heideggerian notions. An attempt to find a way of sort of linking these two usually supposed to be opposite sort of thinkers. So let us start with art. For Heidegger, art is a unique way of revealing the being of beings. Being of beings. So what this being of beings mean? See, what is the being of the tree? In my compound it is there. See, all that makes it there, all its properties, physical and spiritual, whatever it be, all its relations to other beings as a part of the whole nature, all these things together make what it is there. That is the being of that being. See, suppose we want to understand the being of that tree. Okay? So first of all, let us look at all the physical properties, botanical, scientific, physical, chemical, and all those properties. We collect all the information about that tree. And finally, when we check whether that, whole lot of information stands for its being, we can see that, something will be still remaining. Because we may not see the fact that that tree is feeding a number of squirrels every day with fruits. That also is a fact about the tree, no? That also makes it a tree in that spot at this moment. So, being of beings, that is always concealed from we human beings. Okay? That is a very basic idea in Hegelian philosophy. Actually, the whole philosophy of, Heidegger is based on this being with a capital B. From here, he goes to the being of the whole world, not nature, because world has a particular meaning in Heideggerian philosophy. So let us say nature. Then, so what is art? Art reveals the truth. See, I said truth, but for Heidegger, truth means the being that is revealed. The truth about that tree is the revelation of the being of that tree. So truth is revelation of being. So art reveals truth, being of beings. Of course, this is rather abstract. So I shall try to explain with very concrete examples. Let us take an artwork. First, let us take a painting, Guernica, of Picasso. That painting, we know it is about something that happened in Spain in a particular town called Guernica. That town was bombed and destroyed, thoroughly destroyed, including the people there, by the fascist forces. So I said, this picture is about that. But you may not get any information about that from this picture. The number of people who died, for example. Also, this picture is not a beautiful sort of representation of what happened there, Therefore, if it is, if we enjoy this as, for pleasure, that will no more be an artwork to us, because an artwork cannot be a tool, for some purpose. Then what does it do? That historical event of bombing that town, the horror of that event, the horror experienced by the people there, these are the hidden realities of that event. That hidden realities, that is the truth, hidden truths of that event, are revealed sensuously, means, revealed in a way that we can feel within. We can experience the whole disastrous event. Now, having experienced this truth about what happened there, we will be sort of thrown into a new light, you see. See, so far, before that we were very proud of being human beings, about human compassion, love, our sociality and all that in our culture. But after seeing this, you see, we'll be horrified the realities of our being humans, you see. The realities behind the whole, thing called our human culture. So we start living in a new light. That new light makes us, see things in a different way. Our perspectives change. So that new light and the things that we see in the new light, that is what Heidegger calls world. So every artwork sets up a new world, brings forth a new world. The formation of a new world is what Heidegger calls worlding. And that worlding, that new world is not again static. It will be again going on, with other new artworks and other experiences. That world will be ever evolving. That is the notion of world. Then, here, we said being of beings. Which are these beings? What is a being? All that is a being. I cannot say exist because it has another meaning. In Heidegger, all those things which are beings. And this thing is almost equivalent to being in Heidegger. Everything is a thing also. The sky is a thing. Even God is a thing. Okay? Then all the things are classified into three categories by Heidegger. These three categories related to human beings. Because human beings are beings which are unique in this world, in nature. As Hegel says, humans are nature itself become aware of itself. Self-conscious nature, that is human. So this classification into three depends on humans. Of course, about humans we have to see more about that term, who a human is. We have to think about it. So the three things are mere things, that's the first, tools and artworks. See, a stone, suppose I see a stone. If it is a sort of beautiful stone, it will be acting on me as an artwork. Okay? Its beauty, it's, that will give me an aesthetic experience. An experience of being, of being taken hold of, by some force. That is aesthetic experience. If, that stone is sort of, black and with a particular shape, even that artwork may, bring up some images from my heart like Shivalinga. See, even unconsciously I will be, sort of embraced by that artwork. Then, suppose, then I am tired, I go and sit on that stone. Suddenly sort of, a parallax shift happens. That Shivalinga, that beautiful artwork suddenly becomes a tool for me. So what is a tool? Anything we humans make use of is a tool. My pen is a tool. My house is a tool. Facebook, say the whole thing is a tool because we use it. Or YouTube, where I may post this, that is a tool. But today, in this internet era, though all the internet things, apps and all that are tools, we may often feel that we are tools in their hands. There's a beautiful article in academia. I remember someone wrote an article about the internet, saying that it has become almost our unconscious. So a being can be either a mere thing, and when is that stone a mere thing? When I just forget about it. I'm not bothered, as far as, I'm not concerned about it. It is a mere thing to me. See, this may happen even to beings called humans. In a master-slave, relationship. That when that slave is not doing any work, for the master, he is a mere thing. When he is doing some work for the master, He is a tool for the master. Not even a human being in the proper sense, you see. So a human being can be a tool, also an artwork. A dancer, for example. If that slave is a dancer and if he is dancing, even to the master, he may appear as an artwork. Because what does art do to us? That also takes us to a new light and to a new world. So, for an artwork, I have given one example. Another is, see, when we say artwork, usually a sculpture or a painting comes to our mind. Even a poem is an artwork. Let me just take 3 lines of a poem, almost unknown poem. The 3 lines are, the first is, it is not an artwork, some noise from outside. The 3 lines, the first is, the white colonized the black. The brain colonized the body. The phallus colonized the yoni. Just 3 lines. In the first line, the white colonized. What is this white? With that word colonized, that stands for racial or caste superiority, racial power, racial domination. The white colonized the black. In our Indian situation, we know what the white means. Savarnas, Varna is color. Savarnas. They colonized the black. Every day, we are getting proofs of that. The second is, the brain colonized the body. Here the brain may mean mental labor, and the body may mean physical labor. And today, thanks to the global capitalist domination, in our country also, the mental power is getting more and more importance, and the physical power represented by the peasants, for example, in our country, they are dominated and almost destroyed physically. That's what's happening in our country today. Then the third line, the phallus colonized the yoni. Phallus, of course, the male power, yoni, female power. And we are seeing that, in our country, how much it is a fact, the domination of the male power over the female power. Here a word about that word yoni, you see. That is, the female sexual organ. Another word is bhagam. Kappen, in his analysis of the Indian cultural history, tradition, he says there was a long period of yoni puja here. It must be from that yoni puja that that our Devi, our God, became Bhagavati with Bhagam. Okay, but later on, of course, in this patriarchal society, I don't know how it happened, the male deity has taken over the Bhagavan, become Bhagavan, a sort of duplication of Bhagavan. Of course, this is what I think, and maybe wrong, and I have the freedom of being wrong, because I am not supposed to know. I am not supposed to know all that a professor is supposed to know in the Sisyphean sense. Okay? Then, so this artwork, just these 3 lines, when we read it, what is reading? Reading is actually a dialogue, a communion. We are communing with that text. It's a dialogue. And in that dialogue, of course, all the text that I have in my mind also, join. And in that, through that aesthetic experience, I become aware of new realities, the deep dimensions of, the deep unholy dimensions of the most sublime holy Indian culture of ours, you see. The darkest, deeper dimensions are revealed by just these 3 lines. The white domination, the Savarna domination. Also that word science, science can stand for, brain can stand for even science, scientific rationality. And body, nature, because to Marx, nature is our inorganic body. So the domination of nature by science and technology, the technological domination. These are the deeper realities about the society, the democratic socialist country in which we are living. So this is what artwork is doing. We are drawn into new awareness, new light, in which we start seeing things in a new way. And that new way, that world that we see in the new light, that is the new world set forth by artwork. Then, special about human adult, what is so special about you and me, human beings? We are also humans. At the same time, we are the only things, thing and being, almost the same sense in Heidegger, We are the only things that is self-conscious in the even Hegelian sense. Or in another way, humans are only things that exist, existent. What is this? To exist means to stand out. The German equivalent is Dasein. Da, there, to be. Ex, out, stand out. That means we humans are sort of, haunted by our own being in the original Heideggerian sense. Heidegger himself puts it in some other words. Yeah, a human being is the only being concerned about its own being with a capital B. Okay? So always we are bothered about what we are and what we have to be, what we can. Next moment, what I can do. Every moment, we set forth new projects in our mind for future. This is self-transcendence. We go beyond what we are. And in Kappen sees the ethical dimension of human beings in the self-transcendence. A human is an ethical being because he is bothered about what he ought to be. That means always he is dissatisfied with what he is. He or she, of course, I forget, our language must be gender neutral. So, he or she always bothered about this, just negating oneself. Self-negation, that is self-transcendence. That is one dimension of humans. Another thing is, this way of projecting something to be done or to be, to become, that makes our sort of, experience of time not linear. Humans are not living from the present to the future or from the past to the present. That linear temporality is not applicable to human beings. We live from the future to the present. From the past experiences, we collect elements, positive elements, and eliminate negative elements, and we build up. We make a project for tomorrow, for future, and in the light of that future, we live now. So that's why we live from the future to the present. Then another dimension of human beings. In Heidegger's words, we are beings with others. We are beings with others. Also, we are beings in the world. That being in the world, already we have got. See, artwork, for example, always brings us to a new world, and we live in the light of that. So, though we are in the earth, that is another term we have to explain further. We are living in the earth at the same time. We are living in a world. This world and earth, that's very important. I remember, reading somebody writing, years back, that a human being is an angel with an anus. That anus, is the metaphor of the earthiness of humans. And that angel, that stands for the worldliness. In the Hegelian, remember, word is not our usual word. In the Heideggerian sense, world, the new light and the, thing, that is created by the artwork. So, we humans are social beings also. So what social means living in a society. But I would like to use the word community. Because what is a community? A community is a group of people where we can commune. We can intimately communicate with others. That makes it a community. And the whole, relationship that is not communal, let us use as Kappen does, communitarian. A communitarian ethos will be there. How? How that social, what makes them bring them together what make them feel together. That is language. We are basically speaking beings, Language, it is language that makes it possible for us to communicate, to share our experiences. Which language? Of course, there are many languages. Of course, I am talking in terms of that, Saussurean sense of this. A language is a system of signs, a sign. So, our literal language, based on letters, then body language is there, our eating language is there, our dress language is there. So, we have many languages, and each of these languages has its own grammar. The dress, how I should dress, myself, in a particular occasion. There are certain unwritten laws, you see. That is the grammar of my dress language, my body language. These grammars of all these, or the laws of all these languages that unite us, unite the community, that common languages, they all have laws, grammar. And where are these grammar, how they work on us? See, if I am speaking Malayalam, see, I may not be even aware of the rules of, Malayalam grammar. When I speak to you now in English, at least, sometimes that problem, that grammar, that big other knocks at me. But if it is Malayalam, I don't know. I'm not aware of that grammatical rules. Still, I follow the rules. Why? Because these rules are working from somewhere of which we are not aware. And that somewhere is the unconscious. And for a community, they have a collective unconscious. Then, remember, in a language, as Barth has written, every word has a mythological meaning, mythological halo. Because, no word has a unique meaning, And every word, see, for example, the word stone, it can have many meanings to the same person. See, that at a time, suppose I am in the church, okay, and I hear the word stone. Suddenly, Saint Stephen may come to my mind. The signifier part of it, okay, of that word, that sound word may bring to my mind as it signified Saint Stephen, because he was a saint stoned to death. So every word has a mythical dimension, and every word can be a symbol. What is a symbol? That also is a sign in which the signifier gives us the feeling that it is the signified itself. Our national flag, that is the symbol of our nation. And I feel very bad when it is, destroyed by somebody. Why? Because in my mind, that is not a piece of cloth, but it is my nation itself. So tomorrow, if I start believing that, cow is equally a symbol of our nation, I will feel very bad about a cow being stoned to death. Because then, at that moment, the very sound of, not made by cow, even that, may bring to my mind my nation. That is how myths work. So, symbols, myths and metaphors. Already I have mentioned about metaphor in my example, metaphors and narratives, all the stories and all that. These narratives, that is the sort of oven in which our words, images, these become myths. The mythical halo of the words is, however, is increased to the level of very forceful myth with deep roots in the collective unconscious. It is based on this, Kappen says in another article that fascism is nothing but mythocracy, the rule of myths. Again, coming to this society, social being, that idea. All these myths, symbols, narratives and all that, where are they? They are the things actually, that unite the members of a community. Where are they? I said unconscious. The totality of these things is what Kappen calls symbolic universe. Of course, taken from Lacan's symbolic order. So, we are all living within a symbolic universe. Okay? So, we are not free as we are used to think, like the rationalists, see, or, scientific rationality, we are not as free as they say. Even if consciously I decide to be a revolutionary, unconsciously I can be a most retrogressive person. That is what Lacan says. There is a deep rupture within every human being, a rupture between what he thinks he is and what he does. That is why they do not know what they are doing. The biblical statement, Zizek takes it as the typical of the way in which ideology works in us. So we are all living in a symbolic order where myths, images and all that. Of course, there are master signifiers also. Lacan's, that also is very important, certain sounds or certain images that act on us very forcefully, even though they may not have any meaning, any particular meaning. Like for a Christian, the cross, just the image of the cross can fill him with so many feelings, that make him committed even to commit serious crimes, after all it's made of a piece of wood, and it is, in olden days, it was used as a tool of, punishment. But today in the collective unconscious or in the symbolic order of the Christian community, that cross has become a master signifier. And these master signifiers also have great influence on us. Now the question comes, are we bound to follow the rules of this whole sphere within which we are living? A major part of that is in the unconscious. Here remember, Lacan himself speaks of another sphere that also is equally important and engulfing us. That is the imaginary. There lies our creativity. There lies the source of creativity in the artist. Who is an artist? Kappen speaks about that. An artist is one who reveals truth. Truth through his artwork. He is able to do that. Like a prophet. See, the prophet, Kappen has written a lot about prophecy. To Kappen, of course, prophecy is also a fundamental dimension of humans. The ability to see ahead, to visualize, to envisage a new world. Okay, just like an artwork brings forth a new world, prophet also brings forth. A prophet is a sort of, as a whole, is a sort of artwork that can throw new light and take us to a new world, make us live in a new world. For Jesus it was kingdom of God. For Marx it was classless society. So where lies human freedom? Human freedom lies in the fact that he can imagine, he can go beyond what he is with his power of imagination. He can create in the symbolic order his own new symbols and new myths and even new language of freedom, language of liberation. Okay? Here lies the revolutionary potential of human beings. As individually or collectively, he can decide what he ought to be. He can, put before the whole community new projects and tell them, see, look, you ought to be, your world ought to be like this. Go ahead, fight against all the previous, symbols, myths and all that. Not by simply discarding, as the, rationalists say. That's not the way. It's impossible. We cannot, live without symbols and myths. But we can create new symbols and new myths. With these new symbols and new myths, we can create, first of all, we can envision a more humane, more egalitarian, more, nature-friendly world we can envisage, and with that project we can, bring our people together with them. We can fight for that. This is Kappen's revolution of symbols. Who can do this? That is the question. Finally, in his article towards the revolution of symbols, Kappen says, see, all these so-called revolutionaries, who want to bring the new awareness through party classes to the people, telling them, see, look, your self-consciousness, see, is very dangerous. Your consciousness is false consciousness. You have to just first, clear all such things and become aware of the new realities in which you live, the most oppressive, dehumanizing realities, and fight against it. Well, they discard the fact of this symbolic or the deeper dimension of humans and the society. So, the official revolutionaries, the church religious leaders, okay, other institutions, education institutions. These are not the people who are able to create new symbols and new myths. They can be produced, they can be brought up by creative writers, artists, and activists who can commune with the suffering masses. You can share their life experiences and make their own. Because the revolutionary group cannot be, divided into different sections. As a single human being, they have to fight with the same dream. So this is the, of course, I've sort of put things in a very, there are of course many more things. Just one more point, you see. Based on this idea, Kappen, later on, develops his own revolution from below. He calls it revolution from below. In his, series of articles on counterculture that we will be discussing later. Another thing is Kappen's, in my next talk, we are going to discuss fascism. What does fascists do? They are also doing the same thing, creating new myths. According to the philosopher Ernst Cassirer, in his book Myth, Symbol and Culture, the biggest discovery of the 20th century was that myths can be produced, artificially made for political purposes. Political myths. And with political myths, they can mythicize politics and politicize mythology, myths. Okay? This is what we are going to do next time. So thank you. I hope you have got at least some idea. I expect your comments, and of course I will be posting this the full text of this talk in academia.edu. My last 2 talks, 1 and 2, I have done so, and there are discussions going on in academia. Thank you very much.